That moment in a movie when the hero's about to walk into the big showdown, everyone's hyped, the music swells, and then just before the door opens, the scene cuts, and you realize the battle's been delayed. Yeah, that's exactly what just happened in the world of smartphones, and Google's Pixel 10 series is right in the middle of it. We were all strapped in for what was supposed to be one of Google's most ambitious hardware launches ever. And then, like a magician who pulls the cloth off the table only to take the table with it, one of the main attractions is suddenly gone. Welcome back, viewers. Sam here. Hit that like button, share this with your fellow tech fans, and subscribe so you're first in line for all the wild twists and turns in the tech world. Now buckle up, because today's story is a roller coaster with a couple of unexpected drops. Let's rewind to just a week ago. The stage was set. August 20th, Google's big keynote. The plan sounded perfect. I unveiled the entire Pixel 10 lineup, including the regular Pixel 10, the Pixel 10 Pro, the larger Pixel 10 Pro XL, and the real showstopper, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Pre-orders, same-day shipping, August 28th. For once, Google wasn't going to dribble out devices across weeks or months. They were ready to hit go on all of them at once, and fans were ready too. We had leaks, teaser videos, even a little accidental "oops" moment from Google itself showing off the new devices. The hype meter was maxed out. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold was the one device in that lineup that had everyone's imagination running wild. On paper, it sounded like the foldable that could finally go toe-to-toe with Samsung's Z Fold series and maybe even steal the crown. Why? Because for the first time in Pixel history, Google wasn't just tweaking someone else's chipset. The Fold was going to debut the Tensor G5, a fully Google-designed processor built on TSMC's ultra-efficient Thurn-M process. No compromises. No middleman. A chip designed from the ground up to speak Google's language, from AI processing to camera algorithms. Think about it, Pixel devices have always been more about experience than raw horsepower. You don't buy a Pixel because it tops every benchmark. You buy it because the camera can turn a dimly lit birthday party into a magazine cover shot, or because its voice recorder can transcribe a conversation without ever touching the cloud. The Tensor G5 was supposed to take all of that and supercharge it. Faster on-device AI, cooler operation, a smarter power management, and in a foldable form factor. That's the kind of tech alchemy that gets people talking. And then the leaks started shifting. First, whispers that the Pixel 10 Pro Fold might be launching later than the rest. No big deal, right? A month or two's wait. But then came the gut punch. According to solid intel from sources like WinFuture, the Fold has been quietly pulled from the launch plan altogether. Not delayed by weeks. Not teased for October. Just absent. The Pixel Watch 4 delayed. The Pixel Buds 2a, same fate. Suddenly, the event that was supposed to be a 4-act play is looking more like a 2-act performance. So, what went wrong? That's the million-dollar question. And right now, it's a mix of speculation and whispers. One theory, supply chain issues. We've heard this story before. Parts not arriving on time. The yields on key components too low for a proper launch. Another theory, design bottlenecks. Folding phones are engineering nightmares to begin with. But when you add the challenge of IP68 dust and water resistance into the mix, things get dicey fast. The rumor is that Google was determined to match or beat Samsung's water and dust sealing, but doing that without making the hinge bulky, or worse, fragile, proved harder than expected. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Even tiny changes to hinge tolerances can throw the whole internal design off balance. Shift the hinge just a fraction, and suddenly the battery has less room, or the screen crease deepens, or the folding mechanism strains. And if those tests start showing long-term wear issues, you can't just push the phone out the door. One bad batch, and your foldable reputation is toast. Google knows that better than anyone. Remember the rocky launches of earlier Pixel models with hardware quirks? They can't afford that here. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some insiders believe this isn't purely a technical issue. It's strategic. Foldables are still a niche market. Even Samsung, the market leader, ships far fewer folds than flat flagships. Google might have looked at the numbers and decided the Fold needed to offer more than just same as Samsung but Pixel flavored to make a dent. And if those extra features weren't ready, better to hold it back than launch a me too product. Now, let's zoom out to the rest of the Pixel 10 lineup, because even without the Fold, there's a lot to chew on. The Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL are shaping up to be some of the cleanest, most refined designs Google's ever shipped. The camera bar is still here, love it or hate it, but it's sleeker, with tighter lines and a more integrated look. Bezel's slimmer. Weight, slightly reduced despite a bump in battery capacity. And under the hood, the Tensor G5 is there, ready to flex its AI muscles. Yes, the early leaked benchmarks have been underwhelming. Some even show it trailing last year's Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. But if you've followed Pixels for any length of time, you know benchmarks are only half the story. Google tunes its chips for sustained performance and efficiency, not short burst speed runs. That's why your Pixel might feel just as smooth 2 years in, while a spec monster from another brand starts feeling sluggish. And this year, that optimization could really shine. thanks to TSMC's manufacturing process keeping thermals low and the AI features, oh boy, this is where Google's going for the wow factor. Imagine snapping a group shot and instantly getting a version where everyone's eyes are open, everyone's looking at the camera, and no one's mid-blink, or recording a video where the lighting adjusts scene by scene, not just in one flat pass. The rumored Pixel Studio tool could be a game changer for content creators. Color, grade, and even add effects, all without exporting to a computer. That's not a future promise, that's reportedly coming at launch. And here's a twist for the budget, minded the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, whenever it arrives, might actually be cheaper than expected. Leaks point to a $105.99 price tag, $200 less than the original Fold. That's a big signal that Google wants more people foldables, even if it means slimmer margins. For the standard Pixel 10 models, expect prices that undercut Apple and match or beat Samsung. So where does this leave us for August 20th? The Fold might be off the table, but we're still looking at a packed event, Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro XL, Android 15 reveals, and possibly some AI-driven software surprises. And knowing Google, there's a good chance they'll drop a teaser, just enough of a glimpse of the Fold to keep the buzz alive without committing to a date. The question I keep coming back to is this: would you rather get the Fold now with the risk of it having first-gen flaws, or wait another 6 months for a version that could genuinely outlast the competition? And here's the wild card: Samsung's Z Fold 6 is already out there setting the bar. By holding back, Google can study every review, every user complaint, and quietly adjust its own design before launch. That's not retreat, that's patience. And in tech, sometimes patience is the boldest play of all.